So, some people are trying to tell me that knitting is hard, that it takes skill. So I'm here to prove once and for all that not only is knitting not hard, I can do it, and I've never done it before in my life. It's going to be a piece of cake, because it's knitting. Come on, grandmas can do it. If grandmas can do it, then surely I can do it. So materials. What you need to be a good knitter is, first you need some strings and some yarns. I got two here. They're red and yellow. You can choose your own colors. The color doesn't really matter. You can do what you want with the color. And then you need some of these sticks. You want these. You can use any sticks as long as they're straight. I'm using chopsticks, and you need some either cardboard or wood. I thought I'd use wood because I decided to go all out, and wood is a little classier than cardboard. Okay, so first things first, open your package of string, and you want to find the little end. They'll always have an end to the string, unless you buy a loop of yarn, but you don't want to buy a loop of yarn because that's no good, because then you can't find the end. So you find your end, and what you want to do is you want to take one end and just kind of tie it on the end of one of your sticks right here, just like that. It might fall off, so what you can also do is, if you get some tape, any kind of tape is fine. Scotch tape, duct tape, athletic tape. Athletic tape is a little more expensive, but it's kind of like cloth, so it's got that cloth feel, you know. So it kind of fits in with the articles of clothing you're making. And then what you want to do is you want to get your other piece of string and then tie it on your other stick. Or is it a needle? I think it might be called a needle. If that might be the technical term. I'm not really familiar with the technical term since I'm a freelance knitter. And you get your other piece of tape and you just kind of stick it on like that. There you go. Just make sure the point of the tape is just to keep the string on the end. That's not the important part. So what you have is you have two rolls of string and yarn, and then you have two things that are connected here. So here, I'll tilt the camera for you so you can see. You have two rolls plus two yarns right there, and they're each connected to their own personal string. Now what you want to do is you want to you take one of these sticks first and just kind of wrap it around 2 or 3 times. I'm going to go 3 because I'm going the triple loop. And you kind of pull it through like that, and then you take the opposite one and you wrap this one around 2 or 3 times. I'm doing 3 once again because I'm going for the triple loop. Sometimes it gets stuck on the tape. What you just have to do is just kind of help it over a little bit. Not a big deal. And oh, that came off. Well, sometimes it also comes off like it just did right there. It's not a big deal. All you have to do is just tape it back on again. Make sure this time you use a little bit more tape so that it doesn't come off again. Let's see here. I got a little bit more tape. There we go. That's perfect. And now what you want to do is, since you have this triple loop going here, what you want to do is you want to the triple loop is the starting loop. It's basically your starting ground. After that, you just kind of braid it. I don't think you can, like, just braiding hair, you know. I don't know if you can braid 2 strands of hair, but that's why it's called knitting instead of braiding, because braiding you use 3 strands of thing, and then knitting you use 2. And then you just kind of, you can get fancy with it. You know, you can do some knitting tricks. Like, I don't know if you guys have heard of purling. You can purl when knitting. Well, I'm actually a purling pro, as they call it. In fact, I can purl behind my back, like that. And And I can also purl under my leg. These are all knitting tricks. You have to be a little bit athletic to do them, but with enough training you can do them perfectly well. And as you can see, we have the startings of a little sweater going on here. This is I'm actually starting with the sleeve. I know people usually don't start with the sleeve, but I thought the sleeve is the smallest part, so it'd be easiest part to show you guys on video. And see, this is how it's gonna go. As you can imagine, it goes all the way down like this. What else? I'm just gonna keep knitting like this. Sometimes you want to thread it through. That's what the sticks are for, so that you can thread it through once in a while, and it'll help you keep your sleeve intact throughout the whole process. And this is actually the part where we need to get some more materials. So I'll be right back. Okay, so I'm back, and at this stage of your knitting, what you also need besides your string is you need a stapler. This is a stapler and some glue. So what you're gonna do is, to make sure that all the strings and yarns stay together in this little sleeve of yours, you're gonna need to make some staples. The staples are only temporary. They're just to hold the string in place while you wait for the glue to dry. So you just kind of staple it here, staple it there. It's there. See, look, it's a perfect circle now. You can clearly fit your arm through. This is a child size clothing. And then you get your yarn out here. Get your little, this is where your wood board comes in. It's a great way to use as a back. You can put it right on, and then it's a great place to glue. So what I'm going to do is, this is the part, you can get rid of your sticks now. You don't need your sticks anymore. Just take your string off your sticks, and just kind of slide it off. Make sure you try to hold it in place. The staples will help, but staples aren't all perfect. Nothing in the world is completely perfect, so you just have to kind of be careful as you take everything off. And then what you want to do is you want to take your wood board and you just kind of plop it down and glue it in place here. Let me see. So you get your, I would use hot glue, mainly because it's one of the sturdier glues, and it's not messy, unlike Elmer's glue, that crap that gets all over your hands. But it is, I mean, it depends on what your motives are. If you want to make a quality piece of clothing, you're gonna have to use hot glue, just because that's one of the more professional glues. If you want to have fun, you can use Elmer's glue, because you probably know that Elmer's glue, it's fun to get on your hands and then peel it off. I understand that, so yeah, Elmer's glue is fine too, I guess. Depending on what you want to do. If you want to sell your clothing, of course you're going to have to use hot glue. No one wants to buy something made with Elmer's glue. That's like buying something made of crayon. Let's see, you got to get some more glue sticks here. And the technique to gluing is that first you want to glue it on underneath, and then you want to apply a layer of glue on top, kind of like a seatbelt, just to make sure that the yarn stays in place exactly how you want it to. And as you can see, my thing is turning out quite well. And you're gonna have to use scissors at some point to cut off the excess yarn, and I'm actually cutting it off so I can use it in a different place, but it's very easy just to cut it off and then restart again. It's not a big deal. And so let's see, I'm just going to continue gluing. If you're skilled, I'm the slightly more skilled yarnsters, so I can actually just start gluing without using the sticks and skipping that process altogether. But sometimes when people, it's their first time yarning and knitting, they'll find it hard to just start out without the sticks. It's kind of like training wheels, you know. It gives you a little bit of reassurance, just in case things go wrong. Okay, let's see here. I'm just going to do a little bit more gluing. I decided I'd work on the loopy part next, because that's usually the part that requires a little bit more skill to work on. I'm a little bit more focused now, as you can tell, but I thought I'd just do it because kind of prove to you how good of a yarnster I really am. It's going well. So you can see I have the first two parts of my article of clothing done. Next part is relatively easy. It's the collar. You want to make your sleeves first, and then the loop next, and then you want to make your collar, just so you can measure up the sizes of the holes that you need first before you start making anything. I'm gonna get a little ballsy here. I'm gonna actually cut it before I put it on the board. You might not want to do that if you're just a beginner, because that can cause a few problems in case you get the wrong measurements. Let's see. Ooh, that's a little hot. But yeah, as I was saying, you want to start, when you make things, you want to start with your holes first, because you want to make sure you get the right size of holes, because that'd be a little bad if you made a shirt for someone and then their head didn't fit. See, these are all very simple things. I don't know why people say knitting is so hard. I don't even know why it's called knitting. What does knitting mean? I just call it yarning. I feel like yarning is a little bit more appropriate, since you use yarn and strings. You don't use knits to knit. I don't even know what a knit is. Unless, I feel like a knit is a kind of bug. I feel like I've seen bugs named knits, or like some sort of thing like that. Something you don't want to be associated with. But yarning is actually quite enjoyable. I'm having a lot of fun. It's not hard like everyone says it is. It's kind of like one of those things like, what do you call those? Like those picture books, coloring books, where you color between the lines. Those are fun to do, but when people start saying like it's a skill and it's something really hard, and like it requires like people put it on display when they're done with it or whatever. Like, I mean, it's okay if you're a child, but come on, when you're older, it's not a big deal. You can leave it off the fridge. Okay. So so you can see I got my collar here. It's an expandable one. It doesn't look that big, but you can tell it has a bunch of loops in it. So you can actually kind of unloop it and then put it on, kind of like a necklace, and then tighten it back up to the right size. Okay. So next part is going to be kind of hard. It's you know how the sweaters, they have a wider chest and torso area. So that's the same here. I'm gonna have to have like a wider chest area, so I'm gonna work on the chest area kind of like this, right here, this area. That's what we're gonna do. Okay. So this part is a little harder than the collar and the sleeve, just because it's not just a circular shape. So I'm gonna go ahead and go back to putting my strings on first before I cut the yarn. But if you're advanced enough, go ahead and just cut the yarn first and then start yarning. This is actually going pretty well. I'm almost through with this shirt. I think estimated time for making a shirt would probably be around, I don't know, you have to take out a few, I don't know, maybe 15 minutes. If it's your first time, you probably need to take out 15 minutes in your day just to make sure that everything goes right. And you have to leave a little bit of time in case stuff goes wrong. So I would recommend taking out 15 minutes. That wasn't too hard. And then the last part of your shirt is the back. Now if you turn sideways, you notice your back isn't entirely straight. It's got that little curve like this on the back. So that's what you have to kind of tailor that to your shirt, because if you don't want a square shirt, no one wants to wear a square shirt. So likewise, this one is a little bit easier, so I'm going to cut before I start gluing. Ran out of glue sticks. Yeah, make sure you have extra glue sticks on hand, because you don't want to be halfway through a shirt when you run out of glue. See, they say that knitting is one of the, well, people say that knitting is one of the most enjoyable pastimes. I don't know if I would agree to that. People say that they can do it while watching TV. I think that if you did it while watching TV, you might lower the quality of your clothing. I'd just be afraid of burning myself with the hot glue. But it's not something you really do to pass time, you know. Just because of the fact that there's just, I mean, it's like 15 minutes of intense work and then you're done. So there's not really much time to pass. But some people, I guess some people like it. I mean, if you're knitting something really huge, like a horse blanket, like for horses, I can see that being something you can do to pass time. Other than that, if you're just knitting something like shirts or pants, or I wouldn't think that you need so much time for that. Let's see. And with that, I am done. As you can see, my finished product. It's pretty nice. This is a quality, something pretty high quality. I'd say you can hang it up on your wall, wear it, whatever you want to do. As you can tell, I'm a pretty good knitter, and this is my first time ever, so I think this proves once and for all that it doesn't require much work to be a knitter, and it's not that hard.